If the UK economy were a Netflix show, this would be the season where the writers gave up, your favorite characters got fired, and the plot is held together by duct tape and denial. Seriously, what do you get when you mix record-breaking inflation, skyrocketing debt, stagnant wages, and a government that changes leaders more often than people change socks? You get modern Britain. The economy's on fire, and someone keeps throwing oil on it while shouting, "It's fine, we're British." We've reached a point where eggs are considered a luxury item. Young people can't afford rent, and even the King's speech includes words like austerity. It's like watching a high-speed train derail in slow motion, while the passengers sip tea and pretend everything's normal. And yet, despite all this, there's this strange illusion of stability, like the country's wearing a tailored suit, while its shoes are on fire. But here's where it gets interesting, because underneath the chaos, beyond the headlines and political theater, something deeper is unraveling. Something structural, something that's been quietly eating away at the foundations of the UK economy for decades. And if you think this is just another economic cycle, buckle up. Because once you pull back the curtain, it gets dark, fast. I know what you're thinking. Isn't this just sensationalism? Every economy has ups and downs. Britain's been around forever. It'll be fine. That's what makes this story so wild, because this isn't just about inflation or one bad government. This is about how a country that once ruled a quarter of the planet has slowly, silently dismantled its own economic engine. Not with a bang, but with 1,000 tiny cuts. So the real question isn't, will the UK recover? It's, how did one of the richest, most powerful nations on Earth end up here? Let's start with the most obvious red flag: debt. The UK's public debt has now passed 100% of GDP. That means the government owes more than the entire country produces in a year. It's like earning £30,000 a year, but owing £35,000 on a credit card with rising interest and no plan to pay it back. And here's the twist. For years, the Bank of England kept interest rates near zero. Now, they've surged to fight inflation. So not only is the UK drowning in debt, it's now more expensive than ever just to keep its head above water. It's financial quicksand. Every move drags you deeper. And the government's response? Spend more, cut taxes, or just hope. That's like being on fire and spraying yourself with deodorant instead of water. Smells nicer, still burning. Maybe they can grow their way out of it, right? Wrong. Let's talk about productivity, and this is where it starts to stink. The UK has some of the worst productivity growth in the developed world. And it's not because workers are lazy. It's because the system is broken. Decades of underinvestment in skills, infrastructure, and tech have left the UK crawling while others sprint. It's like trying to win the Champions League with Sunday League players and a manager who still uses VHS tapes. Compare Britain to France or Germany. Same hours, higher output. Why? Because they actually invest in their workforce. The UK just coasts and hopes for the best. Imagine trying to charge your phone with a frayed cable. That's the British economy. Plugged in, barely charging. And you knew this was coming. Brexit. It was supposed to be a fresh start. Take back control. Trade on our terms. Unshackled from Brussels. Instead, supply chain chaos. Trade friction. Worker shortages. International firms packing up in silence. The fishing industry, wrecked. Farming, stalled. Logistics, a mess. The irony? Britain left the EU to gain sovereignty, and now can't even control the cost of tomatoes. And then there's the City of London, once the crown jewel of global finance, now quietly losing business to Frankfurt, Amsterdam, and Paris, not with a bang, but like a slow leak in a lifeboat. People say, we'll adapt, sure, but if you shoot yourself in the foot, adapting doesn't make you faster, it just stops the bleeding. Now, let's talk politics, or what's left of it. Since 2016, 5 prime ministers, more fiscal U-turns than a broken sat-nav, scandals stacked like Jenga blocks. One day it's austerity, the next, spend, spend, spend. One budget crashed the pound so hard it looked like a developing market. Investors panicked. Pension funds almost collapsed. How can businesses plan for 5 years when the government can't survive 5 months without an internal coup? It's not just chaotic, it's corrosive. Trust in institutions is fading. Long-term vision? Gone. It's like trying to drive with a steering wheel made of jelly. So let's recap. Debt's through the roof. Productivity is stuck in reverse. Brexit backfired. Politics is a circus. And just when you think the train is fully derailed, it gets weirder. Because here's the final twist. Foreign ownership. Or, as we say on the street, Britain's been selling itself off, bit by bit. Airports, foreign-owned. Energy companies, foreign-owned. Water utilities, same story. Even entire housing blocks in London, snapped up by overseas investors using shell companies. It's like walking into your own house and realizing someone else owns your fridge, your sofa, and half your bed. And it's not just private property. Ports, power grids, telecoms, critical infrastructure sold off quietly. Some to allies, others not so friendly. While politicians argue about flag pins and fish quotas, the real power is shifting, silently. Like Britain sold Mayfair to stay solvent and now rents it back, from a hedge fund in Singapore. And the most surreal part? This isn't even a secret. It's just not on the front page anymore, because the chaos has become background noise. Of course, the trains don't work. Of course, housing is unaffordable. Of course, wages are frozen. That's just Britain. But that's the trap. Because once dysfunction becomes normal, once people stop expecting growth, stability, or even basic competence, you don't get rebellion. You get resignation. And that's the most dangerous kind of collapse, the invisible one. So let's zoom out. This isn't just about debt or Brexit or bad leadership. It's about how a nation forgets what made it strong, and one day wakes up to find it's been hollowed out from the inside. And here's the cold truth. No empire is owed a future. Strong currency, stable institutions, global influence, those aren't guarantees. They're earned. And right now, Britain's coasting on fumes. This isn't just a UK problem. It's a warning to any country that confuses nostalgia for immunity, that treats economics like vibes instead of cause and effect. Because when reality hits, it doesn't knock, it kicks the door in. So the next time someone shrugs and says, Britain always bounces back, you look them dead in the eye and say, maybe, but if you drop a teacup enough times, one day it doesn't bounce, it shatters. If you made it this far, respect. You now know more about the UK economy than most of Parliament. And if you want more breakdowns like this, no fluff, no spin, just hard economic truth, hit that button. Let's keep peeling back the layers of the world's biggest illusions, one video at a time. Because trust me, this isn't the last economic house of cards we're going to talk about.